Good afternoon. In this presentation, we will explore key aspects of the United States to assess its suitability for Australian businesses. We will examine the impact of globalization on the U.S., political, economic, and human development measures, cultural similarities and differences with Australia and trade policies. Additionally, we will analyze the legal and industry-specific changes and identify strategies for successful market entry. This comprehensive analysis aims to provide practical insights for Australia first considering expansion into US markets. Now we have two parts. The part one is the impact of globalization on political economy of the United States. And part two is the changing of US legal system for Australian business. Now let's get on to the part one, the impacts of globalization on the political economy of the United States. From an economical perspective, American companies have expanded their market through globalization, with tech giants like Apple, Google becoming global leaders. However, the globalization has resulted in the resourcing of manufacturing and the hauling out of industries, exacerbating domestic inequality and regional disparities. From a political perspective, globalization has enabled the US to set rules through institutions such as WTO and IMF. At the same time, some believe that the globalization has weakened domestic jobs and industrial security, leading to a rise of protectionist policy like the American First Agenda. From a legal perspective, globalization has driven the establishment of more open markets and capital flow regulations in the US. However, it has also exposed the country the reliance on the global supply chains. This has promoted the US to focus on domestic population in some key industries, particularly semiconductors and healthcare. Now it's the part two, changes of US legal system for Australian businesses. The US legal system is based on common law with federal and state laws coexisting. This complex system presents several key changes for Australian businesses operating in the US. First, the legal and regulatory framework is highly complex and varied. Labor laws, taxation, and environmental regulation differ greatly between states, increasing compliance costs for businesses. Second, while the intellectual property protection in the US is strong, litigation costs are high. Companies that fail to safeguard their intellectual property adequately may face substantial damages. Additionally, the US enforces strict antitrust laws, which impose high standards on the market entry of measures. Lastly, the US has a highly developed litigation culture, with the class action lawsuits being particularly common, especially in areas such as consumer rights and labor disputes. These legal risks pose significant challenges for Australian businesses, which must develop clear legal strategies to mitigate the potential liabilities.
This section will analyze which is more important for Australian companies to do business in the United States: economic development and human development. The US is one of the largest and most diverse economies in the world, offering a wealth of opportunities for multinational companies. Here we will focus on the following four indicators. The first is GDP and GDP per capita. In 2023, the World Bank estimates that the GDP of the United States will be 26.7 trillion US dollars, and the market size is the largest in the world. The US has a per capita GDP of around 80,035 US dollars, indicating strong consumer spending power, which is good for Australian companies targeting the high-end market. Second is the rate of economic growth. Despite uncertainties in the global economy, the United States has maintained steady annual growth of 2 to 3% in recent years. This reflects the resilience and opportunity for continued expansion of the U.S. business. Then there is openness to trade. The United States exports and imports more than $5 trillion a year. High trade volumes and openness create favorable conditions for Australian business to take advantage of free trade agreements. Finally, foreign direct investment. The United States attracts a large amount of foreign direct investment, with inflows reaching 333 billion US dollars in 2022. This shows that the United States has a good business environment for foreign entrants. The United States also ranks high in human development, with a skilled workforce and a high standard of living. Here will be analyzed from the following three indicators. The first is Human Development Index. The Human Development Index is 0.921 in 2023, ranking 21st in the world, meaning that the United States has a well-educated, healthy workforce and advanced infrastructure, which is critical for Australian business in need of professional talent. Second is education and workforce skills. American literacy rate is close to 100%, universal access to higher education. At the same time, there are highly skilled people in various industries, especially in technology, healthcare, and services. Finally, quality of life indicators. Advanced healthcare infrastructure and social stability contribute to increased employee satisfaction and productivity. Economic development indicators are crucial for Australian business entering the US. Here we will analyze its importance from three aspects. The first is market size and purchasing power. High per capita GDP reflects strong consumer demand and disposable income, which is critical for Australian companies that provide quality goods or services. And second is strong business environment. The US economy is stable and diversified, reducing the risk of entering the market. The third is complementary trade opportunities. As an important trading partner, the US provides Australian business with the infrastructure and the networks to scale up their operations. Here, the importance of economic indicators will be further explained from the market size theory. First, we need to know that while human development indicators are critical for workforce and infrastructure quality, the United States already ranks high in these areas. Economic indicators such as GDP per capita provide Australian business with a clear measure of market demand and business potential. The level of economic development is a core index to max the market potential. It directly affects the spending power of consumers and the return on investment of enterprises, and it is closely related to the profitability of enterprises. Human development is more of a comprehensive indicator of social welfare. Although it is important, it has a weak correlation with corporate profitability. Therefore, economic indicators will be more important for Australian companies to expand their business in the United States.
Hello, my name is Chengyang Duan. I will introduce question 3. I have two theoretical frameworks. The first is Hofstede's cultural dimensions. It has 6 parts. The first part is power distance. It reflects the extent to which less powerful members accept unequal power distribution. And here, Australia and the United States are both low. And the second part is individualism and collectivism. It measures whether individuals prioritize personal goals or group objectives. And here they are both high. And the third part is masculinity and femininity. It examines whether societies value achievement and assertiveness or cooperation and modesty. And here, US higher than Australia. And the fourth part is uncertainty avoidance. It evaluates how societies handle ambiguity and risk. And here, they are moderate for both. The fifth part is long-term or short-term orientation. It focuses on future rewards or short-term benefits, and here they both focus on future rewards and pay attention to the environment. And the sixth part is indulgence or restraint. It measures the degree to which societies allow free gratification of desires. And here they both understand and respect everyone's hobbies and personalities. The second theoretical framework is Rohner and Schenker's cultural clusters. This model groups countries based on shared cultural similarities. Both Australia and the United States belong to the Anglo cluster, indicating substantial cultural overlap. They both belong to the Anglo cluster, and the similar emphasis on independence, meritocracy, and open communication. These similarities suggest that cultural distance between the two countries is relatively small, facilitating smoother cross-cultural business integrations. And then is the analysis. The first is cultural convergence. Globalization, technological advancements, and shared political and economic values have fostered the convergence between Australia and the US. And then I listed three parts: the influence of media and pop culture. American television, movies, and music have significantly shaped Australian cultural trends. And the second is similar business practice. Both countries prioritize free market capitalism, entrepreneurial activity, and innovation. And the third is shared political and economical ideologies. They share the democratical principles, and participation in international alliance reinforce cultural alignment. And then is the cultural divergence. The first is work-life balance. Australians often prioritize leisure and work-life balance more than Americans, who may lean towards a strong work-centric identity. And the second is environmental awareness. Australia places a significant emphasis on environmental sustainability, though the US also pay attention to the environment, but it may destroy the environment of other countries, just like sell and transfer rubbish to other countries. And the third part is communication style. Australians often adopt a more cordial and self-deprecating humor style, while Americans tend to be more direct and optimistic. The last part is the conclusion of this part. The first is cultural distance between Australia and the US is relatively small. The second is the difference persists in work-life balance, environmental attitudes, and communication styles. The third is firms must consider these cultural nuances for successful market entry. These insights are crucial for Australian firms seeking international expansion into the US, highlighting both opportunities and cultural nuances to consider for successful market entry.
In this part, I will first analyze the theory of Adam Smith and David Ricardo and then make a recommendation. Adam Smith's theory of absolute advantage suggests countries should specialize in producing goods they can make more effectively than others, using fewer resources or at lower costs. For example, the US excels in technology, aerospace, and pharmaceutical, with companies like Apple, Boeing leverage advanced research skilled labor and cutting-edge infrastructure. Specializing in these industries allows the US to trade high-tech goods for items it produces less effectively, such as low-cost textile and certain agricultural products. David Ricardo's series of comparative advantage expands on this. Focusing on relative efficiency, Ricardo argues that even if the country excels in multiple industries, it should prioritize sectors with the greatest relative advantage. For instance, while the US performs well performs well in agriculture and technology. Its technological sector offers high effect and productivity and innovation potential. Thus, it should focus on high-tech industries or importing agricultural goods from countries with a competitive advantage in farming. Ricardo's series also highlights global interdependence, advocates trade partnership that maximize efficiency by allowing nations to specialize in their strongest sectors. For the US, areas like artificial intelligence, clean energy, and advanced manufacturing align with global demand and long-term economic growth. To sum it up, the US government should prioritize David Ricardo's series of comparative advantage when engaging in international trade, while Smith's concept of absolute advantage is intuitive and straightforward. Ricardo's model offers a more nuanced framework that aligns better with modern global trade dynamics. Firstly, Ricardo's theory accommodates the complexity of today's interdependent global economy, where multiple countries might hold absolute advantages in similar industries. For example, while for both the U.S. government, Germany excels in automobile manufacturing, Ricardo's perspective should suggest that U.S. focus on areas like electric vehicles and autonomous driving technology, while the opportunities and costs are lower and its innovative capacities are unmatched. Secondly, comparative advantage fosters strategic partners and allows a broad distribution of global wealth, while importing products like textiles, consumer electronics, and certain agricultural goods from countries like China and Brazil. The U.S. not only reduces production costs but also strengthens its trading chain, benefiting both domestic and international markets. Finally, adhering to comparative advantages ensures sustainable growth. The U.S. can channel its vast resources, financial, human, and technology into industries that drive long-term competitiveness, such as artificial intelligence, biotechnology, and renewable energy. These sectors not only promise economic returns but also address pressing global challenges, enhancing the U.S. leadership role in the world stage.
Hi everyone. Now I want to talk about the mental of United States trade policy and the international trade theory behind them. These tools include tariffs, substitution, and export control, which reflected mercantilism theory and strategy trade theories. First up is mercantilism theory. This idea suggests by limiting input and boosting exports, countries can build wealthy and strengthen their power. A great example of this is the 301 tariffs that United States slapped on Chinese goods. By adding a 25% tariff, the United States raised the cost of imported products directly, helping to protect American manufacturing. For instance, back in 2018, the Office of United States Trade Representative imposed tariffs on around about $15 billion, wealthy of Chinese imports with an aim to weaken China's competitive edge in key industries, while encouraging American companies to buy from local suppliers instead. This moves helps reduce trade directly and keep potential economy of technology threat at bay. And next is strategy theory. Strategy theory, trade theory is the key idea to help us understand how government action can really make a difference in giving certain industry in competitive edge. This concept is especially important in areas which big production, sales, or technology sharing create major benefits. A clear example of strategy theory is at work is how United States handle agriculture subsidies. Agriculture isn't just crucial for feeding people. It also plays a big role to keeping our economy and society stable. For instance, back in 2023, the United States Department of Agriculture had out over $1.75 billion in emergency funds to help farmers bounce back from natural disasters. This subsidies really cut down on what farmers can have to spend to operate their farmers, letting them spend products at price that competitive will globally. This not only boosts exports but also ensures we have enough food at home and protects farmers from going down when unpredictable events like droughts or floods hit hard. So strategy trade theory highlights just how vital government support is for shielding essential industry for outside shock and keeping a strong potential on the world stage. But strategy trade isn't just about farming. It also covers high technology stuff and industry that's super important for national security and economic stress. Take United States representations and technology exports to China, for example. These rules are all about production key technologies, especially those ties to artificial intelligence, making semiconductors and 5G networks, but by cutting off Chinese access to these advantage toys, the United States is trying to stop potential rivals from getting ahead in areas that could change global power dynamics. This isn't just only about staying competitively. It is also about safeguarding to these resources and technology that will shape future innovations and security worldwide. In both situations, whether we were talking about farmers' subsidies or technology exportation controls, strategy trade theory shows how crucial a government occasion is in protecting national interests by giving target financial help, setting up policy barriers, and encouraging innovation in vital sectors. Government can boost in their local industry, ensure they bounce back economically, and keep lock up and on the global stage. So really, strategy trade is more than just economic. It's also about securing on a country and encourage stuff and connect the world. And here is our reference. Thanks for your watching.